And we're live. Welcome, everybody, here to the Lakers Lounge. I am Anthony Irwin, joined on this fine, incredible, lovely, beautiful, whatever positive adjective you want to use, Thursday night by Raj Chapalu. The Lakers just got that Celtics ass. They beat them at the final score of 114 to 105. That is the Celtics' only second loss at home this season in Boston. And the Lakers did not have Anthony Davis. They did not have LeBron James. They didn't have Jared Vanderbilt for the second half of that one. Darvin Ham started a lineup that hadn't played a minute together going into this game. Didn't matter. None of those things matter. They freaking get an incredible win. We keep on saying best win of the season. This has to be up there, right? Like you keep getting, whether it's this one or the Golden State one, whatever. This was incredible. Raj, are you touching the ground currently?
No, I'm floating. Definitely floating in the air. Forget like best win of the season, Anthony. This is what LeBron and AD's fifth year together. There's been a few games in the past few seasons where both of them sat. I would say this is one of the best wins where both of them have sat that I've seen. Like this was maybe the most impressive for sure, beating a team like Boston, who you just said had their second home loss of the year. The only other one that I compare it to is when we beat OKC on the road in that 1920 season, where like Kuzma and I think Rondo and Zoo had a great game. But no, this was super impressive, something that was unexpected for me. Our star, upcoming star guard played really well. Austin going off in the Boston Garden, dropping 30 on those guys. This is one of the more fun games of the season after just two horrific, terrible vibes killer losses. I was in, Vegas for this week, and adding those losses to what Vegas does to you wasn't great. So it was nice to get this win in the books.
Got to get to a couple super comments here. Jason Kelly writing, should have a reporter inform Darvin he's being fired post-game. That's the kind of classless thing Rob and Jeannie do after wins like this, right? Remember, the Lakers beat the Utah Jazz, was it a couple seasons ago? And afterward, you got reports that had he lost that game, Frank Vogel would have been fired. That would be the kind of thing that would like leak out tonight, right? That like actually Austin and D'Lo were playing for their Lakers lives. The other one, Justin, writing in here with a $20 super comment. Shouts to Justin. Does Ham watch practice? Rui more than held his own on the perimeter defensively. Huge shutdown to JH. Who's JH? Drew Holiday, maybe? He had 16 and 10, while Porzingis had 17 and 7. Should have been a blowout. D'Lo was 1 of 12 from 2. Absolutely a lot of things going against the Lakers' favor in this one, and the Lakers find a way to pull it out. We could talk macro, we could talk all of these things that might bring the mood down, but I don't want to. This season's been such a freaking grind that I just want to enjoy tonight. And I'm going to start by, I will start semi-macro, though, in that I think these role players desperately needed this one. Like, desperately needed this. They've been hearing all year about who's going to be traded, who is letting down LeBron more. Their roles have been jumbled all season. And for some reason, they come together here on this random Thursday night in Boston, and collectively, they pick each other up. Like Justin mentioned, D'Angelo Russell didn't shoot great, right? 5 of 20 from the field, 4 of 8 from 3-point range, which was great. He hit some huge ones, especially down the stretch. 16 points to go with 14 assists, though, to make up for that poor shooting. 8 boards as well. Austin Reeves is the story in this one. 35 minutes, 10 of 18 from the field, 7 of 10 from 3-point range, 5 of 7 from the free throw line. He scored 32 points with 3 assists and a couple of boards. You had, you just go down the line. You had, like I was mentioned earlier, Rui Hachimura, 33 minutes. I feel like that's got to be pretty high for him this year. That's got to be one of his higher totals on the season. Part of it had to do with Jared Vanderbilt being out, obviously, with Cam and LeBron also missing time. 15 points, 8 boards, 4 assists, a block in there as well. hit a huge three that I
Yeah.
thought was really big with like 3-ish minutes to go in this game, and was just like, it's kind of all right. So I'm gonna out him on this. Mark Stein texted me after the game and was like, I don't think a team that's quitting on their coach would beat the Celtics in that spot.
Right.
And this is what I would say. They have been looking for opportunities. They have been looking for chances from the coach. They have been looking for these kinds of nights to prove to him, just believe in us, please. Just believe in us. Meet us this halfway. And yeah, Torian Prince figured into this one. He played 38 minutes, was 5 of 10 from the field. I thought it was a mostly whatever game from Torian Prince. But those core guys, though, right? Those I
Mm-hmm.
thought Max played really well in this one. Rui, like we mentioned, like those core guys went out and showed out. The only non-core guy who played his ass off tonight, I would say, was Jackson Hayes. It was an incredible game, man. And I think it's a big step, I think, in continuing to show this head coach, look, just believe in us. Please,
Yeah.
just believe in us.
I love how the day started, Anthony, with, well, I don't know if it started because I wasn't online fully, but it started with LeBron having the rumors of the Lakers might trade LeBron, right? And then LeBron goes on to sit out this game, and the Lakers have maybe their best win of the season. I love how the universe works in that way. But I thought, I went on this podcast of like maybe last week, and I said it was super impressive to me. D'Lo, amidst all the trade rumors, amidst all the speculation, goes out and just kicks ass, right? He's just like, you want to trade me? Watch this. And with LeBron and
Mhm.
AD sitting, I texted you today and I thought we'd get destroyed. I really did. I thought that's the route this team was going to take, the way Boston was playing. And they went the opposite route. They galvanized around LeBron and AD sitting out. They played hard. This team looked together. Like, that's what was so stark about the Houston and Atlanta loss, was it looked like a team that was so disconnected. Tonight, everything looked in the flow. Their defensive rotations were on point. Boston shot 33% from three, and some of that is them missing good looks. Some of that also is, Anthony, us closing out hard and having controlled
And being
closeouts where you make,
physical. Like
yeah,
this was a rock fight, man. Final of 114 to 105. The over under in this one going into it was almost 250 points. They came
right,
well below that, and I think like this is something that Jason Timpf and I think really agree on, is the impact that physicality has on shooters. And this is why teams that rely so heavily on jump shooting tend to lose and kind of burn out in the postseason if they don't have a secondary option but to
right.
rely on jump shooting. Is that in the postseason that physicality really upticks, and you have these guys just like every inch on a basketball court is fought for, and eventually that gets to your legs, and eventually that really bothers a shooter.
Uh, Also, like, rhythm is such an important part of basketball as well, right? And I think tonight we saw it was a lot of controlled offense. LeBron and AD were out, and I'm not blaming this for them on this, but it was a lot of D'Lo and Jackson Hayes pick and roll. It was a lot of Austin and Jackson Hayes pick
Mhm.
and roll, right? And they were able to come at Boston. And this isn't a Celtics pod, but they showed some of my concerns with them in terms of that physicality, in terms of they rely heavily on jump shooting. You saw even down the stretch when they needed baskets, they were very, comfortable with just driving and kicking the shooters, and our defenders were there. And I thought with the physicality point though, and you brought this up with Rui's 33 minutes. My thing on Rui that I've been all year, Anthony, he had an awesome game tonight, is that to get that physicality for him, to get that like defensive force, to get him boxing out. How many rebounds did he tap tonight? How many like times did he
Yeah.
just shove? You were pointing this out on playback. He just shoved Drew Holiday out the way. I don't think you get that without him getting the minutes, without him getting the touches, without him being able to feel the basketball, without him to just be in rhythm in the game. I think I call it corner to corner. If Rui's just going corner to corner, I don't think you're getting he's in a defensive stance on Jaylen Brown. He's in a defensive stance on Jason Tatum. And I think the whole team kind of, as a collective, we're like, I'm going to get my minutes tonight, right? The two stars are out. That's like 80 minutes, or, if they play 70 minutes total, that's out of the game. I'm going to be able to play. I'm going to get my minutes. I can't be pulled for a mistake here and there. And I think that was part of it too. And I just love the pace as well. We were in transition a ton and this I credit D'Lo for this. All those hit-ahead passes to guys running the floor, all those, backdoor passes where we were kind of in semi-transition as well. I thought that was huge. So huge win, super impressive. And I think there is stuff from this game that you can take because the three-point shooting is going to, be on the front page. The Lakers shot 53% from three, but they only hit 4 threes in the third quarter. Like they were 3 for 4 from three. One of them was that Austin Reeves step back pump, double
with like
pump
the shot
three,
clock expiring.
shot clock going down, and that was one of them. So it wasn't just threes that were killing Boston. It was, we had some good process tonight as well. But overall, yeah, just an awesome win to get in Boston.
Justin saying that the Genie is going to give Ham a 3-year extension off of that game, and that earlier JH was referring to Jackson Hayes. I do not think that Ham is getting an extension from that one, but worth tucking away in the back of the mind.
He didn't lose the extension tonight. He didn't lose the extension at least.
It's true. That's for true. What I would say also is, like Stu Lance says it about like guys who are in a bit of a rut, that sometimes he likes to see them get shot attempts like late in the shot clock where they have no other choice but to fire it up, right? And it's just like that fuck it 3. And I don't know how many people who, like, again, are like loosely connected to players who played well tonight, is how I'll phrase that, reached out to me, and or I reached out to them. I was like, man, it's great to see so-and-so having a great fucking game. Man, it's great to see, Hayes playing out there, playing free, knowing that like they aren't going to bench me for this, and like Vanderbilt fired up that 3 there in the corner in this one, right? And that looked pure as hell. I think he hit 2. Did he make 2?
He did 2 corner threes. In a row.
He was 2 of 3. He shot 3 3-pointers in this one, and it was just like, and this is where part of this is coaching, part of this is culture, whatever. Part of this also, I think, is playing on a LeBron team where you don't want to mess up the few opportunities that you get. And there is like heightened pressure when the ball rotates over to you or whatever. And it was, I really think that tonight, the guys, especially the guys who play on the ball more, had, really enjoyed the fact that they, had a few more possessions at their disposal. Not saying trade LeBron, not saying anything like that, but I do think that this kind of a game for both the guys on the interior and the exterior, like just getting the opportunity, just go out there and make a statement on your own, was something that these guys, I think, have been looking for. And the fact that they took advantage of that opportunity in the way that they did, kind of, not just are you letting your coaching staff know, hey, you can believe in us, here's what we can do in these spots. But I also think like LeBron and AD were sitting, they had a front row seat there too, and I would hope that they took some notes on the ways that the Lakers were successful in this one. Most notably the pace. Like the Lakers were flying up and down the court tonight, and for a team that has sucked offensively in the way that they have this year, I think a big part of it is that they just don't get anything easy. Gone are the days where AD would rim run and beat the other center down the court, and you would have that like LeBron like full court pass that just was an easy couple points. Those are gone. LeBron getting out in transition only seems to happen if he gets like a long rebound or whatever. Or if he gets a steal, but like the Lakers just running this year hasn't really happened. And I thought tonight, if they're looking for things to take from this, one of the big ones, one of the main one has to be, look at how often they just got some easy buckets by getting out in transition or even semi-transition.
Yeah, and you can't get out in transition, right, without getting stops. And the starting lineup was just not getting stops. They would get scored on consistently. That Austin, D'Lo, Torian next to LeBron and AD lineup, it just wasn't getting enough defensive stops. And tonight, I thought Vando was just incredible, super active. His, hopefully he's fine. Hopefully he's healthy. But he was super active in that first.
The X-rays are negative. I apologize to everybody. Normally, I would have TweetDeck up next to me, but it is down right now. So I'm kind of scanning this as you talk, Raj.
Okay. Yeah. So, if x-rays are negative, that's great. And hopefully, he'll be fine to play soon. But thought his activity, Anthony, with those starters really kind of ignited us early on, along with Austin, obviously shooting well and our threes going down. But I thought us being able to get in transition was huge. D'Lo being able to get hit ahead passes. He had like 14 or 15 assists tonight. And a guy that, you brought up earlier that played really well was Jackson Hayes. And really what Jackson Hayes does, and he does this anytime he plays, it just doesn't always look pretty. It's a lot of moving screens. But Jackson Hayes plays hard. Jackson Hayes runs the floor, right? And if you put him next to ball handlers that are going to find him, he's gonna have an impact. There was a funny play tonight I saw where I think like D'Lo was teaching Jackson how to screen. D'Lo does not set screens, obviously, ever. But like D'Lo was telling Jackson, like, hey, you have to set it. You can't just move. Because that's what Jackson Hayes does, and he gets called for a lot of moving screens. But I thought his energy was infectious. I thought his offensive rebounding was dominant tonight. He gave Boston a ton of issues, and a lot of that is just playing super hard. And when he got the minutes, it's tough for him to play when he's obviously backing up Anthony Davis and Christian Wood as the backup five. But I think just part of that, he's kind of involved in that pace increasing, and you have like a second unit that's able to run the floor next to a guard and D'Angelo Russell that can really pass, that can really, share the basketball. And Jackson Hayes was able to roll. This is amazing to me. Like a D'Lo and Austin pick and roll with Jackson Hayes, Anthony, tore the Celtics defense apart. Like they had no answer for it, and not just from jump shooting, because I think that's the part that will stick with everybody. They just could not guard it to the point where they had to pull Porzingis out the game because he was just getting torched in pick and roll. They had to, put Al Horford at the 5, and they still had a really tough time. D'Lo was getting around screens and drawing like those baiting fouls on Drew freaking Holiday. Austin Reeves was putting Drew Holiday on his back, getting to the rim. Austin had like a nasty crossover on Tatum too right before the half. But those guys, like, that just showed to me those guards have a certain level of skill that if you surround it with enough defense, enough rebounding, enough cutting. Vando's cutting was super impressive again tonight before he got hurt. Those guys can play together and can be impactful. D'Lo, again, wasn't shooting well, and I thought Anthony had one of his better games of the just season in terms of impact. The playmaking was incredible, the passing, and then Austin, obviously, with the jump shooting, having 8 threes is kind of the outlier there. But, you put a bunch of energy, rebounding big dudes around your guards, those lineups are going to be successful and have been this season.
Gotta show this one. Shabu again says that the Lakers shot over 50% from 3. Vanderbilt went 2 of 3 behind the arc. Good win, but let's be real about this. This feels extremely false. Donnie, here's what I'll say about that, because I know that we're going to get a lot of that, and I know that that's how you guys think I am kind of like predisposed is to poke holes in a win like this. But no, you beat the Celtics, man. I am 37 years old. I was raised at the knee of my father, who lived through those shitty Celtics days where it just felt like you could not win in Boston. And the fact that the Celtics have been so good at home this year, to get a win in Boston just means a lot. So no, I am not here to poke holes in this. And instead, I am here to plug up those holes, because yes, the Lakers did shoot over 50% from 3-point range. But Raj, how often this year have we seen the Lakers give an inferior team just a little too much confidence and watch that team do shit that they don't normally do, and whether it's Dante Exum, I think he made another 3 on the Lakers tonight, even though the Lakers were playing the Celtics. Dante Exum just hit another 3 against the Lakers, another wide open 3. I really think, though, this is a game where the Lakers hung around a little bit. They hung around early, and then they got up to like a 5-6 point lead, built that into a double-digit lead, and then from there, you do start playing with a little bit more confidence. You see that look in Boston's eyes, where recently they've been kind of sliding, right? They lost to the Denver Nuggets, in a close one, got their asses kicked by the Clippers the other night. And then in this one, I think recently I think you can kind of see it on the other team's face sometimes, like, oh, they don't have it tonight. We actually have an opportunity here. And D'Lo is very much a vibes guy. Austin is very much a big game guy, right? This is why you and I have believed in him in the way that we have, and that is that, like, when the games get bigger, he seems to really get going for them. And then I think the Lakers just kind of, just like it normally happens with when LeBron's on the court, LeBron's the leader. The Lakers are going to go the way that their leader feels about that game. And in this case, D'Lo and Austin are your leaders, and D'Lo's very much a vibes guy, and Austin's going out there and fucking cooking everybody, making all kinds of Celtics fans feel all kinds of conflicted internally about, like, well, we're losing to a Laker, but he's not your normal Laker, is how I think they would kind of say it. And like I just think this was one of those games that, yeah, you get some outlier stuff, but when the Lakers compete and they show up and they believe in themselves the way that they did in this one, that's how you get that outlier stuff to happen more often. That's why the vibes around this team has led to them being 500 to this point, is that it's a very, I think, talented team, but the vibes are so shitty that they're like, well, we know what's coming right around the corner, and I think this was one of those important games that lets everybody know, and especially those role players know, no, man, we're pretty damn good. We're pretty damn good when we get that opportunity.
Yeah. So, my closing thoughts from the last pod was for you to just think about the D'Angelo Russell trade, right? And not just you, Anthony. I'm not pointing you out, but like just anyone listening, just think about it. And why I said that is because this team and not to like go backwards or anything, but this team mostly same roster, just went through 2 playoff rounds. And that can be laughed at as small sample, whatever. The Kings just had their first playoff berth in like 20 years. And we went 2 rounds farther than they did. Like, I just you know what I mean? Like, this isn't to laugh at Sacramento. It's just to like show how tough it is to do that. These are gamers, man. And like the most impressive thing tonight is teams like Boston, what they'll do against, shorthanded teams like this, they'll eventually push the button, right? Like just the talent disparity usually will have them be able to turn it on at some point. Boston tried to turn it up. They tried to turn it on. Tatum had like 3 straight threes on one
beginning
possession.
Of the second half.
Beginning of the second half, they really turned the pressure on. Drew Holiday started picking up Austin Reeves full court, 94 feet. Decided to just pick him up every single time. You are not dribbling around me. And Derek White as well, right? Started picking up D'Angelo Russell, full court. And I love the response. Again, why I say these are gamers. Rui Hachimura, clutch 3-pointer in the corner. That, he got the ball in the paint and shoved Drew Holiday out the way to get free throws.
Rui making that 3, and then like all right. So there's the image right behind the 3 that he made, right, and then he turns to the camera and he does a thing, he sticks out his tongue. I'm like, oh shit, it's that kind of Rui game. Let's go. And I think a few plays later was when he knocked over poor Drew Holiday. And Drew Holiday, by the way, built like a goddamn fire hydrant. Like that guy is really difficult to move. And Rui was just like, nah, you're gonna move. And he just knocked him right over. It was great.
Yeah, like, and again, this is all with Boston turning up the pressure, right? Turning up the heat. And Boston has done this to many teams this season where they'll, BS for a half and then turn it on for the second half.
Yeah.
And the Lakers were like, no, you're going to have to win this game. D'Angelo Russell, more clutch threes.
Almost lost to Detroit that way, right? They were losing.
Yes.
They were way down to Detroit.
Yeah, that was the Detroit during their run where Detroit games were just absolute must watch.
Everybody in America was rooting for Detroit in that one.
Yeah, it was much must watch TV. But like the audacity, I remember Austin Reeves like late in the game, Derek White picks him up full court and he goes behind his back, like one dribble left, behind the back to the right, like you cannot guard me type of stuff. And these guys, I think, understand that they have confidence in themselves when they, are put in the right positions or when they're playing well or the team is connected. And like, it's just cool, Anthony, to see, because this has been a lot of doom and gloom for the last few days in terms of the conversations around it. Who's going out? Who's
Joker the other night, Raj?
The Joker to me is still a funny guy that tells jokes. So I have
doesn't blow up hospitals. No, that doesn't happen.
No, yeah, that's not in my Joker vocabulary. But yeah, it was cool to see like Austin and D'Lo, obviously, who have their bromance kind of beating up each other after the game. AD and LeBron, just giving D'Lo all his props as he comes to the bench. Just to see a team that's starting to hopefully get more connected, hopefully, stay healthy and are able to get some wins. But it's a lot of talent here, man. Vando getting healthy. Vando's cutting has like really increased, and his offensive confidence has gotten there. So I still think this is a confident team, Anthony, where again, just think about it before you break this tandem up in about a week or so.
It's not up to me. I'm not making that call.
Not you. Not you.
I'm plugged in, but I'm not that plugged in. Like, I'd be making quite a bit more money if I had the ability to make that. Great point here from Justin, though, right? The Lakers shot 50-ish, percent from 3, but they only shot 40% from the field, right? How many layups did D'Angelo Russell blow in this one? And how many, Austin had that step back, kind of back foot fadeaway free throw line jumper that he always cans. and he missed that one. So like, yeah, you got some outlier shooting from deep, but you had some outlier poor shooting other places from on the court. George makes in a really good point here. What a great game by D'Lo, impacted the game even if not making shots.
Yes.
And I think this is a point that I think we need to spend a little bit of time on. And this is something that, all right, so lately we've had a lot of conversation about like, is the scoring and the way that D'Lo is playing the last couple weeks going to impact the Lakers' interest in trading him? And there were the reports that that was actually the case. I didn't believe those reports, even though I was one of the people making them. I didn't believe it. I was a little skeptical of it. Right? You still have to relay the information, but
Sure.
you have to relay it somewhat skeptically. Um, what the Lakers have been looking for from D'Lo is, stuff like this where you don't have it going. This is a big game, nationally televised in Boston. The team that the Lakers like, the thing that I love about, Jeannie and the Bus family owning the Lakers is that they feel this shit, you know? Like the new owners of the Boston Celtics, like they can say that they do, but it's different ownership. They weren't there for all of those moments, but this Lakers ownership, this Lakers organization really feels the weight, I think, of this
Mm.
rivalry and of this Boston franchise that tormented them for so long, right? And I think with this one though, like the Lakers have been looking for data that would uh point to D'Lo maturing as a basketball player, where if you don't have it as a scorer, you could impact the game other ways. And this is probably going to go down as one of my favorite D'Angelo Russell games ever. It's the kind of game like he's missing layups. He could totally have talked himself out of this one
Yeah.
and just kind of chucked or turned the ball over a bunch and been the reason that the Lakers wind up losing. But no, not just the assist, Raj, he grabbed 8 boards and
Yeah.
he had 2 steals. Like he was still active.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like we do this a lot where we just kind of throw away players' comments. I listen to D'Lo's podcast, and a lot of the quotes that come out from it are very much just, stuff that's clickbaity. But you listen to him talk about basketball and like his, I guess, viewpoint of it. And I'm not saying he's 100% right, but his view is like, you put the ball in my hands, I'm going to make good things happen, right? You make me the ball handler, you make me the playmaker. You don't throw me in the corner and make me sit there for 3-4 straight plays where I'm just practicing my fake ghost jump shot, which I never, get. Actually, the ball doesn't really come to me on those plays. But if you listen to him talk, say, I'm going to get the ball in the right places. And I think tonight you saw some of that as well, where his shooting doesn't have to be great to impact the game. And I love what he's added, Anthony, is the foul baiting stuff. And that has a negative connotation all the time. But sometimes, like, you have to embellish contact to get the call. And the Lakers,
Yeah.
that's one thing I think the Lakers really missed with Dennis Schroeder was a great way to kind of increase your margins, right? The Lakers weren't a great 3-point shooting team, but what they did was not foul, and they got to the line a ton, which obviously broke NBA Twitter 3 or 4 times. But like that's what they did as a
Getting
six.
in the bonus in this one, I thought was a huge factor in that fourth quarter. They were in the
100%,
bonus
and
with 6 minutes to go in the fourth.
right, and using
Made me nervous
Boston's
about betting the under. A lot of free throws. Okay.
yeah, so I won't bet on games, but yeah, like so using Boston's physicality against him, right? Like a Drew Holiday leaning on you, and D'Lo's smart enough to be able to kind of use that against him and get to the line. And another thing he's doing a lot more, Anthony, I'm not sure what like was the reasoning behind it, but he's attacking the basket so much more. Even if the layups aren't going, that's fine, but he's getting to the rim. And a lot of those plays in the fourth quarter were let me get a screen. I'm going to get by my guy, whoever they switch with. I'm going to get by Al Horford. I'm going to get by Porzingis. And we're going to play out of a driving kick instead of me taking a mid-range 2 or me taking a step back 3. I'm getting to the basket. I'm getting to the line, or I'm kicking out. So his just overall floor game has been so good. He didn't shoot well tonight. Had some awesome threes against Golden State a few games ago, but I just love like the pace that he's at. You used the word pace a lot tonight. I think D'Lo's a big part of that. He's kind of been converted back to the team's quote unquote point guard, especially without LeBron. And he was, I thought, facilitating just masterfully tonight, putting the ball in the right place, finding Jackson Hayes on cuts, getting pocket passes to Christian Wood, the skip passes to Rui Hachimura. Like everything was just in the flow. And I think that's what he means by like, if I have the basketball in my hands, I'm gonna get it in the right place.
Yeah, I think there's this is one of those games that if this season does turn around, right?
Mhm.
And we've looked for this kind of a game
Oh, I've been
at
searching.
every all- throughout the season. You've been
I've been
looking for it
searching.
and just like please find it. And what I'll say is I don't think it's a coincidence that like I reported I hinted at it when I talked to Aaron earlier today in the lounge. And
Mhm.
then after we got the news that LeBron and AD were going to sit, I also I did report that um things were heading in a direction where they were going to start last year's starters, right?
Mhm.
And I do think that that information trickles out, right? If I get it, you know that those players get it. And I do kind of wonder if after that Golden State game, and then in this spot, when you find out that that was going to be the starting group before you find out that AD and LeBron are out, maybe that core is kind of like starting to feel like, all right, we're doing our job. We just got to keep it up. We're doing our job. We're showing this MFer that like we are the guys that he should be leaning on. And that's not to say that you stop playing Torian Prince completely. I think he has some value in smaller windows. And that's
Yeah.
not to say that you don't rely at all on any guys that weren't a part of that run. But I do think, that like after that double overtime win, where those guys played both of those overtimes and you win that game that way, and then you go away from it, and I think you immediately see the letdown from it. And then you see the letdown again against Atlanta when again that remains the case. And then today you find out coming into the game that maybe just maybe that would have been the starting lineup, and there is that belief starting to grow, begrudgingly as it might be, that these guys are going to be the guys that kind of turn the season around. Also importantly, the other bit of reporting that I did over the course of the day is that I think it's going to be a quiet deadline, and I do think that those two things that like
Mm.
all right, they are going to be leaning on us more, more consistently by the guys in house, by the people in house. And also, we maybe just maybe might be able to stick together after this deadline, and then we really can kind of turn on the Jets in spite of the jackass who has held us back to this point. Like, I do kind of think that these things matter. It's intrinsic, it's intangible. There's no way to know any of this stuff. But like
Right.
when I piece together the things that I kind of hear and see over the course of a day, and then you see this kind of effort and you see this kind of effort immediately afterward, that to me, like it can't be worth nothing. It can't be worth nothing. And I think that this was a great example that these guys are trying to continue to send to this organization. Yeah, like this is why you should be believing in us. This is why like this is the stuff that we have been able to do all season for you. You made this season way more difficult than it needed to be. And apparently, like Harrison just told me that D'Lo has had some great quotes. So like while you talk next, I'm gonna go and find some of them. But yeah, I think that like the reporting leading up to this game, I don't think we can ignore. I think that like if I know those things, these guys definitely do. And I think the way that they played tonight, that freewheeling, fuck it kind of a game, I think that
Yeah.
has a lot to do with the information that flowed into it.
Y Yeah, and just from outside the kitchen, as someone who's, kinda watching the food come out, I don't really speculate on these things, but it does feel like just D'Lo and Austin have this chemistry and this palpable energy between each other that they like playing with each other, Anthony. I think they do like that, and I could tell that it doesn't take, a body reader, if that's a real thing that people do. But like, it doesn't take a body reader to see that D'Lo was upset being on the bench, or
Yeah.
he was just not okay with coming off the bench and having spot minutes here and there on the second unit. There were times D'Lo was playing like 17, 18 minutes. There were lineups where there were games where he would go through and just not play. And it's very clear that those two guys not only want to play together, they want to start together. Like those two
Yeah.
guys have real energy together, and they really play off each other well. They have chemistry that's built up from last season. And then you top that chemistry off with Rui Hachimura. How many times did Rui smile tonight? Like, when was the last time Rui was smiling? Rui was like smiling and smiling ear to ear. with his minutes and obviously playing well. Jackson Hayes was getting and ones. He wasn't here last year, but Jared Vanderbilt, obviously his energy has been infectious, and as his minutes have gone up, I don't think it's a coincidence that the team has started to play better and have more energy, like, and just be overall more connected. I don't think those are a coincidence either. But yeah, it looks like the team's will kind of revert back, hopefully, to those, playoff style lineups. And I thought Torian actually played a solid game for a player that like didn't have to do too much, was able to attack closeouts, was able to play next to other big physical guys, right? That's our, like, I think Torian has been the biggest kind of scapegoat for this season, and just not for his fault, obviously, due to the rotations in the lineups and stuff like that. But Anthony, you play him next to Rui, you play him next to Vando.
Yeah.
He's no longer a wing that has to like masquerade as a four.
He was their
sometimes
point of attack defender. Like, he was the guy who was guarding like freaking Trae Young the other night, and he was guarding Steph Curry against the Golden State Warriors. Like,
yeah.
I don't have any problem with Torian Prince. I have a problem with the way that Darvin Ham's dumbass keeps using him. Like, that's like in no universe should Torian Prince be playing 30 minutes a night, guarding the other team's best player night after night after night after night. Like, if they scale back his role by like 20%, right? Maybe 25%, where his, like, in terms of expectation on defense and the number of minutes that he plays, if he scaled that back, I think he would be legitimately one of one of those plus minus darlings, And like, you always make this point, right? With like Caruso back in the day, where like you would always be like, well, let me find out that he isn't as good at 30 minutes, right? Let me find it. We found out, Raj.
Yes. No, we got that answer early. We got that answer a long time ago. Which the sad part is, like, because I say this about Torrent, he's actually just he's an average wing NBA player, which is very, very useful. Like, you can put him on a lot of different places. You can put him in different lineups and situations. We just somehow found the worst one for him, which is that's the most unfortunate part. We put him in the one that does not help him at all, but you put him where he can be the spacer. You saw him tonight just attacking transition, right? You saw him also attack some closeouts against big man, where he doesn't also have to be the rebounder, because that's just not what he does. And he doesn't have to fill that physical void either, right? If you have Austin and D'Lo out with Torian Prince, he kind of has to fill that physical void because of, LeBron sometimes comes in and out of that, and then you have all that on Anthony Davis's play. But you put him next to Rui, put him next to Vando. I thought he looked very good, and I think Torian's a 2. Like, I think he's just a 2 in today's league, and I think we've kind of played him out of position. But anyway, that's a lot on Torian. Hopefully that they go back to these bigger size lineups. I don't think it's a coincidence that with AD and LeBron out, Anthony Darvin was kind of forced to go big. Like, he was forced to. He had to. He had to play Christian Wood. He had to play Jackson Hayes. He had to play Rui Hachimura. That's 3 out of like your 5 or 6 bigger players that you were kind of forced into feeding minutes to. And obviously Cam Reddish is out, which gives him just more wing minutes to play. I don't think it's a coincidence that they play better like that. And also Christian Wood got his minutes as well, which
even
I thought he
Max,
played well.
Max plays bigger than
Max.
his size.
We have to talk about Max.
Like, Max in 23 minutes tonight, 3 of 7 from the floor, 1 of 3 from 3-point range, 2 of 2 from the free throw line, 9 points, 4 boards, couple assists, a steal, was a plus 10 in 23 minutes tonight. And the thing that I'll keep saying about him, and I have said about him all along, is that it almost doesn't matter what the situation is. He looks like he belongs out there, and this is nuts for a second round rookie last year and a second rounder this year, that no matter what spot he is asked to go out there and do, no matter what who he's asked to guard, no matter like what the stakes in that game might be, he looks like he belongs out there. And you mentioned Cam wasn't available. LeBron wasn't available in this one either. So that's a lot of wing minutes that opened up, and that let his minutes total go from like that 5 to 10 range that he's been in to 23 minutes tonight. And all 23 of those minutes, I thought, looked perfectly fine.
Yeah, I've been tracking this, and I said this on playback. Max Christie has worn the reverse Kobe's for I think 15 or 16 straight games. It's the only shoe that he'll rock.
He has one pair of shoes.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna do actual reporting on this.
Please
do. I'm gonna ask around. I'm gonna see if I can get close to Max and see if I can and find
Okay.
out if this is the only pair of shoes that he wears, because I think there's a chance that he might. Also, by the way, it's crazy to me that pros play in brand new shoes every night. That's effing bananas to me. Like, I always got blisters with brand new shoes. That
Oh
is
yeah.
so crazy to me, you know? And these guys, like, I don't care how many pairs of socks you wear, there's still friction. It's still a brand new shoe. It's not flexible. Like, you know what we might be watching, Raj? We might be
Hmm.
watching Max Christie, like helping teach people how basketball shoes should be used. You need to
Right.
break them in. You need to like get used to them, get comfortable in them again. And
Right.
I think he's helping us poor people out there show that, like, no, it's actually an advantage to break in your your $200 shoes.
Right. And also, reverse Grinches, not a bad shoe to like choose as your,
Yeah,
as
it's
your
fine.
only shoe.
I not
I'm
my
not mad.
favorite. I think it's an overrated Kobe, but
Oh,
that's just me.
okay, I like it. But on Max, he's
I don't
already.
like monocolor shoes. I'm not a fan.
Mm, oh, really? Okay. I think they look good, especially, I've seen them in
They're
person a few
fine.
times. They
Yeah.
look nice.
They're fine.
But Max is already an above average rebounder for his position. And I think again, that's just when you like are plugging skill sets in. The Lakers kind of had their off the bounce shooting filled in with Austin D'Lo. I think Max just fills that rebounding like skill set that's sorely missing. You watch Max soar for boards. What I love is he goes two handed for any rebound. Doesn't matter where it is. He's gonna go with two hands to try to grab it. He also just raises Anthony. I've said this before with him. He raises your athletic floor, right? Like the athletic floor of the team just raises when he's out there. So he has these like standing dunks. He'll run in transition, and he's all of a sudden now like he had a play tonight where I think Tatum was back or whoever it was, and he just whirled around, put his chest into him, and finished at the lane, and then flexed. And it put us. And Boston was on a mini little run here. I think they cut it to 6. I think D'Lo scored, and then Max came in transition and put it back up to 10 with a little flex off. I was just like, this guy's getting comfortable. He's getting comfortable with his jump shot. He had like a pull up 2 early. The threes still aren't going down at like an amazing rate, which I think is, again, it's a really great show that he's able to contribute in other areas. And I think he just needs to play. You just said it, that he looks like he belongs. I agree. And he does all these kind of little stuff that you don't see. Like he just cuts at the appropriate time. And he's such a fun, like he's our most technically sound defender. Vando's our most chaotic defender. I think AD's obviously our best defender. I think Max is just our most fundamentally sound defender. He's always in a stance. His defense is how a coach would
Yeah.
kind of teach it. He gets physically overpowered at times, but which of our guards don't, I guess. But other than that, like he moves his feet really well. Again, a really great rebounder. I just think he needs to play. And I think Cam being out, sadly, I think has really opened up minutes for him where he's played in every game, I believe, in January. He's on a really consistent basis of getting minutes, and maybe that's why you said maybe that's why he's wearing the shoes. I guess so. Maybe maybe that's why Darvin's
Keep
playing
wearing
him.
a
But
Max.
yeah,
Keep wearing, like, you're
yeah.
breaking them in, and the coach like sees you down there. Like, what if it is something as simple as like
Oh
Darvin
man,
sees that like bright, like kind of fuchsia that those shoes are, like, oh, Max, man, that's right, man. Max, get on over here. Like
before he was calling Gabe, he's like, Gabe, get in. He's like, I'm not available.
yeah,
I'm not,
yeah,
I'm not available to
yeah.
play.
GV, yo, GV. No, oh shit. Oh, those are nice shoes. Who's wearing those? Yeah. All right, get on over here. I would also say though about Max, he's thicker this year than last
Oh
year.
yeah.
He had kind of talked about at media day about like him adding muscle and all that. Everybody does.
Mm-hmm.
But I think even over the course of the season, I think he's bulked up even more. It actually struck me. It was a random moment in the game. You know how sometimes like coming out of a break, they'll start a
Pan the camera.
possession in a different angle, different camera angle. And on
Yeah.
this one, the camera angle was on the baseline. And I
Okay.
think Max had inbounded the ball to like D'Lo or Austin or something like that, and was running side by side with those guys. And I was like, man, are they playing a different guy? And it was like, oh shit, no, that's Max. That's 10. Like that's wow. Way to go, Max. I really think, because that is, I think, the defensive spot that the Lakers have been lacking all year, right? Is that 2 spot
Yeah.
for like kind of more physical 2s. Although I think Torian could probably guard those guys. He's just been asked to guard like the Kevin Durant's of the world. But I do think though that like Max, like It's like such a ridiculous thing to say up front. Like, Torian Prince could guard those guys, but he's busy with Kevin Durant. Sorry, can't guard that guy tonight. I'm dealing with Steph Curry and ISO.
I have Luka Doncic tonight. I'm sorry.
Yeah, right.
Can't swing over.
Oh fuck! I got Giannis. All right, here we go. But what I was gonna say though is that like I do think like I have felt this way because I'm biased and I am very susceptible to confirmation bias, but I have not wanted Max traded all year because I really believe in the kid. I think that he is going to be like, you know, I think like when it's all said, he might be better than KCP. Like when he reaches his peak, I think that peak might be higher than KCP's. And I love KCP, like, you know, especially now in Denver. Like, I think this is the best KCP is going to be. But yeah, I think Max, like with this added physicality to him, I think is really exciting. I guess I gotta touch on this before we get out of here. And Raj, your camera is like fuzzy. I'm not sure what's going on there.
I don't know. Either. Just laughing at Torian. Something happened.
TKB24 Rock Mutt is asking, have they talked to the Braun rumor? Raj, did you see this rumor?
Yes, the Lakers are planning to trade 39-year-old LeBron.
Where is it? I forget the guy's name, but apparently he has gotten some stuff right in the past. It's like Paul something. It's not. I can't find his name, but anyway, this guy that had gotten some things right in the past before they happened is apparently now saying that that he's hearing from some NBA folks that LeBron James could potentially be traded, you know, by the Lakers. And I did some checking in on it, and I am told definitively by several sources here that there is 0% chance that LeBron James gets traded. I don't know why we need to say this. I think it's cool sometimes when, I mean, shit, like I would not have gotten my start in this if we just ignored everybody who has new information, right? But in this case, I think that guy's going to wind up missing. And I don't think that the Lakers are going to be looking to trade LeBron.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think it's honestly franchise suicide to trade LeBron James. Like if you trade LeBron, especially, obviously you would only do it if it's his request. And even then, like I've seen people like actually take the time. Again, I never opened up the trade machine, but I see people actually take the time to like put LeBron James' name in there and see what they can get. That is not a normal trade at all. That is not value for value. That is not trading like Mikal Bridges or Lauri Markkanen or, you know, whoever else is on it, even Donovan Mitchell, right? Where you're trying to assess value for production. That you throw all that out the window for a LeBron James trade. That is 1-for-1. He will pick his destination. You are getting scraps back. Like it's not happening either. I mean, imagine
the only way that this happens is if LeBron goes to the Lakers and says, I want out for whatever reason. Like that is it. The Lakers would not trade LeBron without his say so and where he would go, without doing a whole bunch of work behind the scenes. Like that is not something that would be done. We know how the Lakers operate here, man. Like they didn't trade Kobe. You know, Kobe demanded a trade. Jerry Buss sat him down and said, we can't. We've talked to teams. We've done our due diligence. We've talked to these teams about what those teams would be willing to give up. And the closest that the Lakers ever came was trading Kobe to Chicago. But Kobe actually nixed that trade because he wanted to play with Luol Deng. Right. And which is a funny name given how that goes later in Luol's career. But like that is the closest that I ever got. And even that is kind of, you know, there's some funny information on that. I'm telling you guys right now, from everything that I know, and I have been iffy on very little that I've reported. The only thing, Raj, you can attest to this. The only thing that I felt a little iffy about was the second time that I reported about the lineups. And I said, I
Right.
feel worse about this one than I do about the first one that I reported. This time, I'm telling you guys right now, definitively 0.0000000 at infinity percent chance that LeBron James gets traded by the Los Angeles Lakers
My last thing on this, because this is a great night and I don't want
this
it to
week.
a great week. Yes, not talking about this, but imagine these words coming out, because you speak about this a lot, Anthony. That like a lot of decisions that general managers and even, well, mostly general managers, because owners can't be fired. A lot of them do a lot of stuff that would save their job, like trading LeBron James to
In
go win
admitting
title.
failure.
Exactly, admitting failure. Not only that, trading LeBron James to go win rings elsewhere is an epic admission of failure, right? And
Yeah.
like just saying that out loud, that's why it would never happen. Because wherever LeBron goes, he's going to win, right? Or maybe
Mm-hmm.
play with Bronny, I guess. That's another I guess motivation for him. But like you're trading LeBron James to go win rings, and that's what it would be. Trading him elsewhere to win rings. And I just think that would never happen. So LeBron's staying
A
here.
little bit of housekeeping here. Justin Tyndall is asking, isn't Max a free agent because Pelinka gave out 2-year rookie deals before this year for second, excuse me, for second rounders? Yes, he's a restricted free agent. Um, and I don't think he has shown, like, remember last year with Reeves, the
Mhm,
reason that teams were like lining up to potentially make him an offer that, by the way, never came, worth
mhm.
worth pointing out, is that Austin like played the way he did in the playoffs. And I don't think Max is lined up to play that way in the playoffs. He might play well, and I think he'll do some things that, maybe the Lakers pay him slightly, or will definitely be paying him more next year than they would have been had they just, you know,
Gave him the 4-year
understood the
deal.
CBA better when they signed him to that contract. So he will be playing on a raise next year, but I don't think there's any concern that they will lose him to free agency.
Yeah.
He was drafted by Pelinka. He's played well, and he's developed by this Lakers organization. I think they really love him, the player, and the guys. So I don't think he's going anywhere.
Yeah, me either. But look, I would take it if Max somehow in the playoffs has. I mean, he's not going to get the ball handling responsibility that Austin did. At least it doesn't look like it. But if he like locks up and has just a great shooting playoffs, there's a world where someone throws a 3-year, 30 million deal at him. Like there's a world where that happens. So I mean, Lakers would
Yeah,
probably match that, but I
yeah.
don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I think he's talented enough to have a stretch of like the shooting looks real enough, Anthony. I don't know what you think, but it looks in form. It
He's a
looks like
nice clean shot.
it looks repetitive, yeah, and I remember his first summer league where it looked like it was in slow, like it had parts to it where his jumper was like part 1, part 2, part 3,
Yeah.
but now it
Hmm.
looks in the flow. The corner threes look nice and steady, and he's not missing like crazy left or crazy right. It looks on point every time he shoots. So I think there's a world where Max has a great playoffs and and he gets a nice contract, but we're far away from that. I'm just glad he's in the rotation and playing well for sure.
George is pointing out he'll be an Arenas exception. I don't think it matters. I don't think he's getting a poison pill
Hmm.
contract deal, and I don't think the Lakers are all that concerned about it either. He hasn't done enough to this point. I mean, it's a criticism that I've had that he hasn't done enough.
Right.
Right? I want him to get more opportunity, and had he gotten more opportunity, maybe we'd be having a different conversation here. But I don't think he's had that kind of an opportunity. And kind of here we are. But all right, that is, I think, going to do it here for this episode of the Lakers Lounge. Again, because I like saying it a whole bunch, the Lakers beat the Boston Celtics 114-105. Again, the Lakers beat the Boston Celtics in Boston 114-105. Fuck it, I'm going to say it again. The Lakers, the Los Angeles Lakers, without Anthony Davis, without LeBron James, without Jared Vanderbilt in the second half, with Darvin Ham as the head coach, beat the Boston Celtics 114-105 in Boston. They hand the Celtics only their second loss at home of the season. And boy, was that fun to break down and just have a nice, fun, uplifting show. This has been
Yes.
quite enjoyable. If you guys have enjoyed this, please do subscribe. If you're watching live on YouTube, if you're listening right now, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, specifically Odyssey, my current employer. And yeah, I will be back tomorrow for the happy hour and a special edition of the happy hour, where I'll be talking to Jason Timpf. So until then, and until the next time you guys hear from me, I'm Anthony Irwin. That was Raj Chapalu. This has been the Lakers Lounge. Get that Celtics ass. Woo! Let's get it. Woo! Love you.